Hello there, world! Today we're talking about the four main versions of Shadow: Sonic Boom Shadow, SA2 Shadow, Sonic 3 Shadow, and Sonic X Shadow. The reason why I'm doing this today is to give you guys a light informational summary on how I view each of these characters and where they differ and where they compare, and that's pretty much it. I just wanted to put my thoughts out there about every single version of Shadow that I like or dislike so you guys can get a handle on it and actually hold it together and tell me why I'm wrong or why I'm right. So let's begin.
That will change every Sonic game ever created for Genesis.
Not now! We're never gonna make it! We'll make it!
Sonic and Knuckles arriving October 18th. Maybe.
Shadow the Hedgehog is always going to be one of those cool characters. His backstory is pretty simple. He was created by Gerald Robotnik to save his sick and dying daughter, ended up working with an alien warlord named Black Doom, created Shadow, went insane, and then fucking made Shadow again or rewrote his memory, and then decided to be like, damn, this guy will do my bidding forever. Shadow's story is entirely simple, as, well, you can pretty much summarize it so well and so clearly that there is no reason for you to go any deeper into it. Okay, so we're gonna do this very, very clearly, okay? Shadow starts off as an antagonist, a bad guy, as some people would like to call him. He dies at the end of Sonic Adventure 2. He comes back in the next game, Sonic Heroes. He doesn't have his memories, but he's still a good guy. And then he goes to Shadow the Hedgehog, where he becomes a morally ambiguous person because we don't know the path he actually took. So after becoming an morally ambiguous person, he becomes a very, very good guy who you think is morally ambiguous because he seems like he doesn't actually care about anybody, but he loves more than anybody in the series. He's like a better lover than Amy. You know, he's more of a lover, not a fighter, you know, but he mostly likes to fight for what he loves. And yeah, that's pretty much the entire summary of Shadow's character. Now, we can actually move to the actually other versions of Shadow now. Sonic X Shadow is basically just everything that Shadow is, but kind of just a bit lesser. Like, they don't have the super cool alien backstory of Gerald getting alien DNA from the Black Arms, and he doesn't have anything to do with Mephiles in like Shadow Generations. So it's stuck in this middle ground where Sonic X Shadow is just that guy, you know, who beats up Sonic and then almost lets Rouge die up until they see Chris Thorndike. Of Yang Shadow, there is not a single thing here that I can look at and go like, okay, they did this better than Game Shadow did. Now, they did Super Sonic vs. Super Shadow, but that's done better like way later down the list. And let's be very clear here. Everything that they do in this version of Sonic Adventures 2 story is just a lesser version of everything that they did in goddamn Sonic Adventure 2, except for Maria. Maria is always a better character in everything but Sonic Adventure 2. Don't let anybody tell you otherwise. So that's basically it for this version of Shadow. Let's move on.
Whoa. Color.
Hey, there's an easier way to get color. Get a Game Gear, the full color portable with over 150 games, like the new Echo, Mortal 2, and Sonic Triple Trouble.
So here's a very, very, very clear thing that I have to make very clear to the clearest people of the clear world. And it's that Shadow Boom is fucking hilarious.
So this is why you called me here.
Let me get you a chair, Mr. Shadow.
I prefer to stand.
I prefer to stand is some crazy work, dude. He has no backstory, but everything he says is either hilarious or he has such a grumbly voice that it sounds fucking funny as shit. I think my favorite part is this line.
Silence, fool. I've suffered your presence long enough.
I suffered your presence long enough. Dude, it's so good. It is so unbelievably good how he speaks. The tone is beautiful. What he says is beautiful. His brain is beautiful. I love everything about Boom Shadow. I don't think there's a single interpretation of a character that I don't like that's in Shadow, except for Vector, but that's because he wasn't in enough episodes. But like, bro, he was fucking amazing.
Your shoddy craftsmanship brings shame on all hedgehog kind, and for that you shall perish.
This is so fucking amazing, okay? Boom Shadow just radiates comedic energy and comedic timing that you just can't perpetuate. Everything he says just sounds like a joke because of his like interpretation and how he says things. Okay, so you know, it's so fucking clean and clear. Next, we're talking about, well, you know, I gotta transition for that.
Does it have the 3D special stage? Yeah! Do it!
New Sonic 3 is now available at a store near you.
Sonic Movie 3 is the most entertaining version of Shadow to date. Okay, let's be very clear here. Shadow in this movie is a lot like Superman. But what happens when Superman gets his entire family? He turns about 5 years old, and then, you know, the family dies. Okay, this is basically Shadow if he was Superman and the family died when he was 5 years old. Shadow works extremely well as a side character. Like, when I mean extremely well, I mean so well that I could look at Shadow in like 5 minutes in a movie and he might say something that's like life-changing. That's how cool Shadow is in this movie. From his fights to the jokes he says, like, Shadow isn't even trying to tell jokes. He just believes something, he says it, and he has such a conviction about him that it ends up being funny.
Come on, Shadow. Got fresh avocados in the crab. We'll make guac.
Revenge guac.
Like, dog, it's comedy gold. And I don't mean in a way where it's like, my comedy is not better than your comedy. It's just comedy gold. There's not a single thing that you can say in response to the words revenge guac. That's a snarky remark. He believes it, there's a sincerity there, and there's a feeling that he loves what he's saying. Well, Keanu Reeves, not like Shadow himself. Shadow is like pissed off as fuck, but you could tell that Keanu Reeves is having a lot of fun. You could tell that Shadow is being played very sincerely and not treated as a joke in a way that isn't funny. Like, they could have easily messed that up and then have Shadow like say revenge guacamole or something like that, you know? It could have messed it up, but they kept it serious, they kept it on the down low, and they just made him say revenge guac, and everything was cool. And then look at his fights. His fights are literally the most amazing shit in the world. I mean, I might not play the entire thing, but the fights are the best thing in the world. Hopefully I can actually play it without having my video taken down.
Traffic is my thing! Coming through! Why are you running away? We were just getting started!
The more you talk, the harder I want to hit you.
Hey, let's be very clear here. Very, very, very clear here. My favorite part of the movie, my favorite part about Shadow's character is the shit talk that he does during the super fight. And I'll explain why in like a few seconds after you watch the clip. But it is so good.
They tried to stop you, didn't they? But you came anyway. Your anger was too much. What kind of hero abandons his friends to pursue revenge? Abandons his family.
Don't you dare talk about my family!
And here I thought you cared for them. Especially the one, what's his name? Tom?
The idea that Shadow is like being so on the nose with Sonic because he knows that Sonic knows that he fucked up and that he's nothing like Shadow, because even when Shadow lost everything, he still did everything in the vein for his family. And while Shadow doesn't have his family anymore, Sonic still does, but actively goes out of his way to betray his family to get the Master Emerald and come here to fight Shadow. And just Shadow is just rubbing it in over and over again for a couple of minutes before getting completely dog-walked by Sonic. Is so intriguing, right? Because it shows that Sonic and Shadow's dichotomy is only really surface level, and the dichotomy between them is separated by the actions that they took after their tragedies happened, right? Yeah, Sonic was willing to betray his entire family, like literally everybody else in his family. Instead of staying to comfort his family, he only thought about his own emotions. Now, Shadow lost his entire family. The only reason he's following Gerald around is because Gerald loved Maria too, and he's doing all this stuff for Maria, and Shadow wants to do things for Maria too. But the only person Shadow really cares about is Maria, right? So Shadow lost his family entirely and cannot see why Sonic would have betrayed the rest of his family, the people he views as brothers and a mom, in order to avenge his dad, instead of, you know, going with their brothers and their mother to help them out and see if Tom is okay. It's crazy, you know? And Shadow's just rubbing it in, poking it all in, and I love it so much because it just shows how selfish Sonic was being, and it's so amazing.
Dude, looks like you could use one of these. You can get into the action with one of these handheld Sonic games in every McDonald's Happy Meal.
Thank you guys for watching the video. Hopefully you guys have a great day. In the comments below, if you've made it this far, tell me if you guys want me to use different gameplay. I stick to using Sonic stuff because I like Sonic and I really love playing the Sonic games. But if you guys want me to use other stuff, I have games like Borderlands and stuff like that, and then I can use that. Just tell me down below. See you guys later. Thank you for coming. Thank you for staying. Thank you for watching the show.
Grumpy, bashful, and Tyrone. I never save a black beat, just number in my phone. It's the Mambo King, Xavier Cougat. Call me Mario, nigga, cause I'm wearing my coon hat. Some of my best friends are black. They say I'm fucking racist. Homie, I ain't the one who put your ass on a slave ship.